Has anyone looked at you lately, paused, and said, "You look younger, brighter, different somehow"? They don't know it, but they just confirmed something sacred. Because when a chosen one begins to rise, heaven doesn't stay hidden. It starts showing itself in the body. This transformation isn't vanity, it's spiritual evidence. It's what happens when your soul outgrows the old skin. In this video, I'm going to reveal 10 strange physical changes that begin to appear when a chosen one is advancing spiritually. Not mentally, not emotionally, spiritually. These aren't things you can fake. They're not results of a new skincare routine or diet. These are signs from the inside out. Your eyes, your skin, your posture. All speaking one truth. The old me is gone. Something higher has taken over. And if you've felt different lately, lighter, disconnected from the crowd, drawn to silence, pulled toward things you never noticed before, or if you've caught yourself standing in front of a mirror, looking into your own eyes and thinking, something's shifting, and I don't even know how to explain it, then you need to stay right here. Because what you're experiencing has a name, and by the end of this message, you'll understand why it's happening, and more importantly, who you're becoming. But this comes with a warning. If you click away too soon, you'll miss the confirmation your spirit has been crying for. Because one of these 10 signs might be the exact moment you realize, I'm not who I used to be. And that realization changes everything. So listen with your soul, not just your ears. Because this isn't just a video, it's a mirror for the awakened. Before we begin, take action in the spiritual realm. Like this video, it's a prophetic agreement that you're ready to walk in alignment. Subscribe, because chosen ones don't stumble across truth, they're led to it. And comment 99 below, because 9 is the number of completion, and doubling it is a signal to the heavens. I'm stepping into the fullness of who I am. Let's begin. Something sacred happens when a soul begins to truly heal, and it doesn't stay hidden in the shadows. It shows up on your face. The first transformation is subtle, almost invisible. But then, someone says it. You look younger. And suddenly you realize they're not just complimenting your skin, they're witnessing a spiritual detox that's made its way to the surface. 1. Youthful glow returns. There was a time when your face wore every war you had fought. Stress carved its initials across your forehead. Worry pulled at the corners of your mouth. Shame lingered under your eyes like dark fingerprints from the past. But the moment you stopped trying to please the world, the moment you forgave what you couldn't forget, the moment you surrendered instead of struggling, everything shifted. Your skin didn't just get better. It remembered who it was before trauma. Now there's a light in your reflection, not artificial, not cosmetic. It glows from within, soft, steady, and unshakable. This is not just clearer skin. This is your nervous system finally exhaling after years of spiritual suffocation. Your blood flows differently now. Your cells are responding to the peace you've made with yourself. The tension that once tightened your jaw has disappeared. Your face no longer braces for pain. It opens to receive light. People think you're aging backward, but what they don't see is the thousands of silent prayers that rewired your body. They don't see the nights you chose healing over revenge, the days you chose presence over panic. That glow? That's what spiritual maturity looks like, when it chooses peace over performance. And now, without even speaking, you walk into a room and shift the atmosphere. Not because of makeup or lighting, but because your inner stillness has become undeniable. 2. Eyes shine with spiritual fire. They used to be tired, clouded by questions, heavy with things you couldn't say out loud. But something happened. Not overnight, but real. You began to see, not just with your eyes, but through them. And now, your gaze is magnetic. People look into your eyes and pause, not because they're beautiful, but because they're honest. Your eyes no longer beg to be understood. They understand. They carry depth, clarity, and something even more rare, peace without explanation. They reflect a soul that's been to hell and back, and came out glowing. They hold no fear, because they've already survived the fire. And instead of hiding what you've been through, your eyes reveal it like sacred scripture etched into silence. There's a knowing behind your stare, a softness that disarms, a strength that warns, a stillness that humbles. And here's what truly unnerves people. They feel seen, not judged, just seen, fully. And that makes them either gravitate toward you or retreat from you entirely. Because your eyes are not just windows to the soul, they're mirrors to the spirit world. And when someone locks eyes with you, they're not just meeting you, they're confronting who they've become. This is what spiritual fire looks like. Not rage, not loudness, but that quiet, radiant heat behind your stare that says, "I've burned through illusion, now I only see truth." And here's the part no one tells you. Once your eyes awaken, they never go back to sleep. So if people can't hold your gaze anymore, maybe it's because your spirit now speaks louder than your words. And we're only getting started. Because if your face is already changing, wait until you see what happens to your body, your walk, your senses, your very presence. This was just the first glimpse. The real metamorphosis is still unfolding. Stay close. You weren't just carrying weight on your shoulders. You were storing pain in your cells, regret in your bloodstream, and trauma in your tissues. But when the soul starts to let go, the body follows, and the release is undeniable. It's easy to miss at first. You wake up one day and notice your skin looks different. You step into your clothes and something fits differently. You glance in the mirror and don't just look, you feel changed. Because when a chosen one rises, the body begins to purify what the spirit no longer tolerates. 3. Skin becomes radiant and clearer. Let's be clear. This glow is not from a beauty product. It's not a filter. It's not a diet. This is cellular resurrection. This is what happens when bitterness is replaced with forgiveness. When anxiety is replaced with alignment. When shame is replaced with truth. You see, the body doesn't forget. Every grudge, every heartbreak, every unspoken scream, it recorded all of it. In your hormones, in your blood, in your skin. So when you started choosing peace, your body finally got the permission to exhale. The dullness faded because your energy stopped hiding. The irritation vanished because your nervous system stopped bracing for impact. And the glow returned because your soul stepped into alignment and your face became the proof. You're not getting better. You're finally getting free. This isn't just a change in appearance. It's a sacred unveiling, and people feel it. Even strangers notice. They might not say it, but they sense it. Your skin is radiant because you've stopped carrying what wasn't yours. You've stopped explaining yourself. You've stopped trying to earn peace and started embodying it. And when that shift happens internally, your body doesn't just react, it rejoices. 4. Unexplained weight changes. Let's talk about the transformation no one can quite explain. One day the weight feels heavy. The next, it's gone. 1 month, your appetite is scattered. Then suddenly, it's aligned. Some of you are losing weight. Others are gaining curves, strength, or volume in places that were once hollow. But make no mistake, this has nothing to do with numbers. This is spiritual equilibrium. The body is recalibrating. It's shedding what was tied to grief, or it's building up strength to carry the mission ahead. Your cells are responding to new frequencies. You're not just burning calories. You're burning contracts with past versions of yourself. What you used to eat to survive no longer satisfies. What you once craved in chaos now feels heavy in peace. The comfort foods no longer comfort, because you no longer live in emotional emergencies. And then it happens. You wake up lighter, not just in weight, but in spirit. Or you wake up stronger, like your body has become a fortress for your soul. Even your cravings begin to change. You start desiring foods that nourish. Water suddenly tastes divine. Greens feel like medicine. Your intuition is guiding your nutrition, because you're not eating to numb. You're eating to activate. People may not understand it. They'll ask if you've been working out, dieting, doing something new. But how do you explain to someone that your spirit has been purging old timelines? That your body is simply catching up to your healing? You can't. Because this isn't cosmetic. This is celestial. The physical shift is just a side effect. The true change? You've stopped betraying your body just to belong to places that never deserved you. And here's the twist. Sometimes you might gain weight because your body is preparing to store energy, not out of fear, but because something big is coming. Your vessel is preparing for the next dimension of your calling. That's why you must stop judging your body based on numbers. Start discerning it based on spiritual alignment. And just when you think you've seen it all, something else begins to shift. Not just your shape, not just your skin, but the way you carry yourself. Your movements become different, more fluid, more precise, like you're no longer rushing through life, but gliding through dimensions. And in the next phase, even gravity starts to treat you differently. Stay close. We're just getting started. There's a moment in the spiritual awakening of the chosen ones when the body stops reflecting anxiety and starts mirroring sovereignty. And it becomes obvious in the one thing most people never pay attention to: posture. You're no longer slouching under the weight of your past. You're no longer curling inwards to shrink yourself into spaces that dishonor your light. You don't hunch in shame. You don't drag your feet through chaos. Your body now moves with the quiet precision of someone who remembers who they are. And people feel it before you say a single word. 5. Upright, powerful posture. Your spine isn't just a stack of bones, it's a spiritual antenna. And when it straightens, something divine realigns within you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to think about it. Suddenly, you're standing taller. Chin lifted, but not in pride. Chest open, but not in ego. Feet grounded, but eyes aimed higher. This is not about confidence. This is about congruence. Your outer form is now matching your inner truth, and people notice. Not in the way they compliment an outfit, but in how they respond to your presence. Strangers make space for you. Peers stop interrupting you. Even those who once dismissed you start to pause mid-sentence. Why? Because you're no longer walking like a question mark. You've become an exclamation point of purpose. You've stopped bowing to things that don't serve your spirit. And your posture tells that story loud and clear. You're no longer bent by burdens you were never meant to carry. The invisible pressure to explain, prove, or apologize for your calling. Gone. And what remains is a presence that doesn't demand attention, but commands respect. When you walk into a room now, you don't ask for permission. Your alignment speaks on your behalf, because when the spine aligns, so does destiny. 6. Graceful, calm movements. But it's not just how you stand, it's how you move. Something about you has changed, and it's written in the rhythm of your body. You used to rush, your steps were heavy, your gestures scattered. You were always 5 seconds ahead of yourself, chasing peace in 1,000 directions. But now, your movements are measured, fluid, intentional. You reach for things slowly. You respond instead of react. Even in silence, your body speaks, and it whispers clarity. This elegance is not performance. It's the natural byproduct of inner order. You're no longer driven by urgency. You're guided by alignment. People can feel it in how you open a door, how you take a seat, how you sip from a cup. Even the simplest gesture has become sacred choreography. And what's wild is, you didn't train for this. You didn't rehearse it. It happened naturally when your nervous system calmed, because the war inside you ended, and the body finally began to rest. You don't fidget, you don't force, you float. And the world, used to chaos, noise, and desperation, doesn't know what to do with someone who carries this much peace without saying a word. They start to copy you, to mirror your rhythm, to match your tempo, because the calm inside you is louder than any voice in the room. And that's when you realize your stillness is a weapon. Your poise is power. And the way you move through this world is starting to teach others how to move through theirs. But here's what's coming next. Once your posture aligns, once your gestures soften, once you stop shrinking into places you've outgrown, even your senses begin to awaken. And you'll start seeing, hearing, feeling things you once missed completely. You won't just walk differently, you'll perceive differently. And that is where the real shift begins. Stay close. The next change might explain everything you've been feeling but couldn't name until now. The awakening doesn't just clean your soul, it rebuilds your temple. And suddenly what used to feel fragile becomes unbreakable. Your hair, your nails, your energy, they all begin to transform. Not because you're trying to look better, but because your spirit is finally allowed to breathe. And when the spirit breathes freely, it restores everything it touches. 7. Healthier hair and stronger nails. For years, your body reflected your battles. Your hair, dull, lifeless, thinning. Your nails, brittle, cracking. You thought it was just stress or hormones or bad genetics. But here's the truth. It wasn't just about your body. It was about what your spirit was enduring in silence. Your body was echoing what your soul couldn't say. Every strand of hair lost was another burden too heavy. Every broken nail, another silent scream from a spirit under pressure. But now, your spirit is healing, and your temple is responding. Your hair begins to thicken, not just in volume, but in strength. It shines like it's been kissed by light from within. There's bounce, life, presence. Your nails, they no longer snap under pressure. They grow, smooth, solid, and fast. You run your fingers through your hair and feel the difference. You tap your nails on a surface and hear resilience. It's subtle, but powerful. A private confirmation, a sacred reminder that restoration is real. Why? Because you're no longer feeding your body from fear, shame, or exhaustion. You're feeding it from spiritual alignment. You're no longer tolerating environments that drain you. You're no longer digesting emotions that don't belong to you. You've broken covenants with anxiety and made peace with rest. And now, your body is blooming in response. 8. Surging energy levels. But perhaps the most shocking change of all is the return of your energy. It used to be a daily fight to get out of bed. You were alive, but not living. Surviving on caffeine and adrenaline, dragging your body through tasks your spirit never agreed to. But now, you wake up with clarity, with strength, with purpose. You no longer crash midday. You no longer chase energy. You carry it. There's a new rhythm in you, a quiet power that moves without noise. You don't just walk into a room, you shift it. People feel better when they're around you, but they can't explain why. It's because your energy field is now tuned to truth. You're vibrating at the frequency of freedom. You're grounded, clear, alive in every sense of the word. And that energy? It's contagious. Others begin to mirror it. Their breath slows in your presence. Their anxiety calms without knowing why. You've become a living reset button, but it didn't happen by accident. You earned this peace. You fought for this vitality. You chose presence over panic, boundaries over burnout, stillness over stimulation. And now your energy doesn't just sustain you, it feeds everything around you. You get more done without rushing. You connect more deeply without draining. And when you rest, you truly recharge instead of just escaping. because your body has stopped resisting your spirit, and together, they're dancing in harmony. So if your hair is healthier, if your nails are stronger, if your days are brighter, and your strength no longer fades, it's because your inner world has stabilized, and your outer world is starting to reflect it. But this is just the beginning, because once the temple is restored, your perception shifts next. Your senses begin to awaken in ways that defy logic. You start seeing what others miss, hearing what's not being said, feeling what's invisible. In the next phase, you won't just glow. You'll perceive differently, and that's when the real unveiling begins. Stay close. It's about to get supernatural. When a chosen one crosses a certain threshold in their awakening, the shift becomes more than emotional, more than physical, more than energetic. You start to see differently, hear differently, feel differently, and it's not your imagination, it's spiritual sensitivity, awakening at full force. Your five senses are no longer just biological tools. They've become spiritual instruments, tuned not to the chaos of the world, but to the rhythm of the unseen. 9. Enhanced sensory awareness. It starts unexpectedly. Colors that used to look normal now seem vibrant, almost alive. The sky isn't just blue, it's glorious. Leaves aren't just green, they glow. Even silence feels full. You hear the hum behind the noise. You feel the room shift before anyone speaks. You can sense when someone's spirit is anxious, even if they're smiling. Because now, your awareness isn't limited to what the eyes see or the ears hear. You're tapping into a frequency beyond logic. Suddenly, the energy of a place matters more than its appearance. The vibe of a person speaks louder than their words, and the natural world feels like it's talking directly to you. Bird songs carry messages. Winds feel like whispers. A sudden stillness. It's not random. You can feel heaven rearranging things in real time, and you can't go back. Once you hear in the spirit, the noise of the world becomes unbearable. Once you taste truth, artificiality leaves a bitter aftertaste. Once you feel the vibration of divine alignment, anything out of tune becomes obvious, painfully obvious. It's both a gift and a responsibility, because this heightened awareness means you now live in depth. Shallow conversations feel like static. Superficial environments feel suffocating. You crave real. You crave truth. You crave resonance. And the deeper you go into this awareness, the more you realize this isn't just a skill. It's evidence of who you are and of what you're being prepared to carry. 10. Serene facial expressions. But perhaps the most undeniable sign of your evolution is now written across your face. You used to carry tension like armor. Your forehead, tight. Your jaw, clenched. Your smile, forced. Not anymore. Now your expressions reflect something deeper than emotion. They reflect presence. No more contorting your face to match other people's comfort. No more performing happiness. No more trying to look okay when your soul is in warfare. Now, your default expression is peace. Your face tells a story, not of perfection, but of alignment. A calm that doesn't come from a good night's sleep, but from spiritual clarity. The lines of stress are fading. The furrowed brow has smoothed. Your smile is no longer a mask, it's a window. And when people look at you, they don't just see a person, they feel a presence. You've become the kind of soul that enters a room and silences the noise, not with words, but with stillness. People start confiding in you. Strangers feel safe around you. Tense environments calm when you walk in. Because your face doesn't scream for attention, it transmits peace. This serenity isn't soft, it's strong, it's not passive, it's prophetic. It says, I've walked through fire, and I'm not burned. I've cried enough to understand joy. I've faced myself in silence and made peace with the reflection. And now your face has become your testimony, a living billboard for divine healing. a map of where pain once lived and where purpose now resides. You no longer wear the world, you radiate the kingdom. And here's the final twist. When the soul finds stillness, the body becomes magnetic. People don't know why they're drawn to you, but they are. Because stillness is louder than sound, and presence is the new power. But what does it all mean? Why are these changes happening now? What are they leading you toward? The final revelation is coming. And it's not just about how you look, or how you move, or how you feel. It's about what you're being prepared for. Don't move. The conclusion will connect it all. You've been wondering what's happening to you. Why your reflection feels different. Why your movements carry more grace. Why your presence shifts atmospheres without a sound. Let me tell you something that most will never dare say out loud. You're not evolving. You're remembering. Your soul has always known this version of you. It was simply buried beneath noise, trauma, expectations, and pain that was never yours to carry. But something holy happened. You stopped running from yourself. You turned inward. You started listening. And heaven responded. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to defend your journey. You don't need to prove a thing, because your body is already testifying. Every strand of stronger hair, every calm, unforced smile, every breath that doesn't tremble anymore. It all whispers the same truth. I've been marked by the divine, and I will not return to who I used to be. This is not self-improvement. This is spiritual resurrection. You're not glowing because you finally rested. You're glowing because your soul has finally risen. The radiance in your skin, the fire in your eyes, the strength in your posture, the serenity in your movements. They are not aesthetic. They are confirmation. Confirmation that you're shedding the false identities, that you're aligned with something higher, that you are no longer available for environments that suffocate your calling. Chosen one. The world may not understand your transformation. They'll try to label it, minimize it, mock it. But those with eyes to see will see. They'll feel it when they stand next to you. They'll sense it in your silence. They'll be unsettled by your peace, because it exposes what they still haven't healed. And you will walk on, with grace, with clarity, with power, with God-given authority. Because your life is no longer about survival. It's about activation. You're not here to blend in. You're here to awaken others with your very existence. So let your face reflect peace. Let your posture declare purpose. Let your glow expose heaven. Comment below with this phrase: "My body reflects my spiritual awakening." And let the entire community